All right, Craig, the Baltimore Ravens have an opportunity to sign DeAndre Hopkins. Man, we're going to look
D-Hop.
at this fit. It looks very interesting. They look like the favorites, one of the favorites to land him. When you think of DeAndre Hopkins, what comes to mind for you? And we'll look at the Baltimore Ravens and how they can acquire him. What comes to mind when you look at DeAndre Hopkins?
I think one of the things that comes to mind is how much does he have left? He was injured a lot in 2021 and 2022. He had the 6-game suspension. Here's the good news. When he came back from that 6-game suspension, I think it was in 11 games, right? Because it was 6 games. He had 64 catches, 717 yards, which by my math, real quick, compute it, is somewhere around 99 catches for 1,300 yards if he had played all 17.
Yep.
He clearly can still do things. He still has the ability to. I think if he's the guy that you expect to still, in year out, put up 110 catches, 1,400 yards, I don't think he's that guy anymore. But I think he's still an absolute difference maker, and he can be that guy where if you have a quarterback that's like, I don't know what the defense is doing, I don't know where to go with this. It's all right. I'm going to go to D-Hop. He's going to make a play. I still think he can be that guy. I do.
Yeah. I know, absolutely. And you and I both, and we'll look at it here real quick. So the Baltimore Ravens, and we always, you and I like to look at Vegas because somehow they know things. It's
just
freaky.
Know stuff.
It's so weird. So they have the Ravens currently the third best betting odds to get DeAndre Hopkins. And remember, they got Odell Beckham. Lamar Jackson came back. So it's been a wild offseason so far. So this
is that behind Kansas City and Buffalo, I'm assuming?
The other ones?
Yeah, well, you don't have to tell me the second, but I'm just assuming it's behind KC and Buffalo.
Yes.
So,
yep. And what's interesting is it's almost an offseason of like, if you're going to do it for the Ravens, you do it because the offseason has been so messy in a way because of, hey, Beckham, and you overpay him. That's a whole nother video. I mean, it feels like you overpay him, but Lamar Jackson.
No, you overpaid him.
Yeah, I mean, right. You overpay him. Lamar Jackson.
You did. But that's okay.
You finally get Lamar Jackson. So if this is the great news is it looks like DeAndre Hopkins could still play. You've got all of a sudden you go with, you don't know who your quarterback's going to be now. Okay, Lamar's back. Good. You don't know what's the wide receiver room look like. Now it's Beckham and Hopkins. I mean, what do you think of that? I mean, that doesn't sound terrible. They're older, but hey, what up?
So the Ravens fans have been tortured in the wide receiver room in the history of their franchise.
Yes.
Now they really have. I just heard this stat the other day, and the Ravens have only had 2 wide receivers make a Pro Bowl, and both of them were selected as returners. Oh. So they Ravens haven't drafted a Pro Bowl wide receiver, and they've only had 2 wide receivers that they drafted go over 1,000 yards.
Wow.
Something that Hopkins does almost every single year. Those were Torrey Smith in 2013 and Marquise Brown in 2021. So if you're a Ravens fan and all of a sudden, hey, we'll overpay for Odell Beckham, we can let's overpay for Hopkins. Maybe they are over the hill. They're still better than anything we've had for the last 20 years.
Wow. Great point.
They've had good tight ends.
Yep.
They've had good tight ends, but they don't have receivers. And the way I look at this too is, okay, Lamar, if you get these guys as your wide receivers, this is your chance to prove that you are a good passer of the football. I don't know what your thoughts are, but like the Ravens are desperate. That's been, I think, the thing that's held them back from the next level. Is good wide receiver play.
100%. You nailed it because it's always Lamar Jackson. It's a college-y type offense. It doesn't feel good. Even when they're winning, and they're going to be 9-8, 10-7. It's just kind of like this. Where's the receivers? Can we just play NFL football here and let Lamar just throw it and let's just do it. Football. So please. And it just feels like they have an opportunity, especially like you said, you add DeAndre Hopkins to this room and you've just got some receivers. That's a great point from you about how, you don't ever think of the Baltimore Ravens and receivers. And who was the guy that they had that the Lions took for a while there? I'll think of it.
A receiver?
Yes.
Oh no.
All right. Anyway.
Anyways,
Yes.
here's what I will say though. Like if you just drafted Zay Flowers, you have Rashad Bateman, who's not good, but he's not a number one, right? And then you get Beckham, and if you get DeAndre Hopkins, and you already have Mark Andrews at tight end, it goes from who's Lamar Jackson throwing to, they have to run the ball. This is why they run the offense, to all of a sudden you have your top three receivers are brand new receivers. You still have at arguably the best, but third best tight end in the game, second best, right? And all of a sudden, Lamar Jackson is just like, I have the best receiving core in the National Football League, maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
All,
top five.
Exactly. And Anquan Bolden, by the way. Anquan Bolden.
Oh my goodness.
Whatever.
See, when I talk about Anquan Bolden, I always just think of him as a Cardinal first.
100%. Yep. And I was like, where did he? Yeah, anyway. So no, I'm with you. I think what happens in NFL franchises do this, where you're so deficient in one area that you're so desperate to pick it up at some point, and you just do things that don't really make sense. The Odell Beckham thing, just really in NFL optics, that's just not a great move. But
at least it's a 1 year, right?
Yeah, it's a 1 year, and like you said, you're dying for a receiver. It's a 1 year. Like, who cares? Let's get him in here. Lamar, thanks for coming back. We want to show you, want to throw you a couple, throw you a bone.
Yes,
it's good. Like, we could try it.
Yeah,
like, something.
Sign with us.
Get going, because Nelson Aguilar is. I don't hate him. Bateman, I don't hate. Like, none of these guys, but the Aguilar and the Bateman, those two guys,
they're not the guy.
No, and that's their receivers for the last 20 years. You nailed that, and so why not bring on Hopkins? And now you've just let's just do a year, and let's just let her rip and see what happens.
Let's just see what happens, and let's see if this works or if we have to go back to something else.
Yeah.
And they have a really good coach. John Harbaugh is a good coach. He gets the most out of the defense. His teams play well. And so if maybe you can finally do this thing where you create an explosive offense, it's not just Lamar Jackson, but you have other pieces around him that can make plays, that can make things happen, then all of a sudden you're looking and saying, okay, maybe we have something brewing here, because how do you stop a team that's that multiple? The last time we saw a team that multiple was the Eagles last year. Who stopped them? No one.
That's right.
Like that's just the way it works. This is what they're trying to do. The question is, can Lamar throw the ball as well as Hurts did?
Yeah,
that's it.
Exactly, because when you think of Ravens, you think of them just slugging it out. AFC North, Pittsburgh's in town, and you're just slugging it. Every game is just a slugfest. Yeah, it's like, hey, what if we just opened it up and you? But that's kind of what
if we scored 38 in this one? Would that be okay?
That's kind of like the basketball. Like, what's your pace? And it's like, well, everybody wants to run, but you can't. We can't run. Like, so we're just playing half court, and it's just it's tough on the entire team. But when you can open it up, and what if it is just a quick fix with some receivers? I don't know, but we'll keep an eye on this. This
hasn't worked the other way.
Yeah, absolutely. This is huge.
Drafted them.
I think they are one of the three teams that realistically has a shot at DeAndre Hopkins. So we'll keep following this and
good for them.
Yep, and see where it goes. And make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Do it.
We follow the big NFL stories. We make sure that we've got those covered and see what's going on in the NFL. So make sure you subscribe to us, and we will see all of you on the next one.
See ya.